Stop over-editing photos. You know, every time I go online, every time I want to take a look at 500px on the front page, see what pictures are there, I just see an over-edited mess of disgusting, just makeup for your photos, just pictures that don't resemble anything that it was actually like to be there, how it actually looked. It's just completely fake. These people are bad people. They ruin photography. I mean, look at this. It's just disgusting. This person is the sole responsibility for ruining photography. I really hate this. But okay, so I realized that just hating on this and really, being disgusted, it doesn't really bring me anywhere. So this is exactly why today I want to show you how you can edit a picture in Lightroom and actually make it look natural. Because, let's be honest here, if I show you this picture, for example, this is a RAW file. It doesn't look like it looked in person. It is much darker, the shadows are not there, so you do have to edit a RAW file to a certain extent to actually get a really good and natural looking picture at the end. So let me just start here. Now, if I bring up the shadows, I really want to be very careful to not go overboard because this is already kind of too much. So I really just want to go around +40. And with the highlights, it's the same. Now, obviously, in person, you're going to have much more dynamic range in your eyes. So it does make sense if you bring down the highlights a little bit. Also, I'm sure you've heard that the vibrance is a little bit, it's a little bit muffled if you shoot RAW. So I would definitely recommend you to bring that up just a little bit. So by showing you the before and after, you can see it does look a little bit better on the right, but it is still, kind of close to how it looked in person, and that's really what I'm going after. I don't think that it's wrong to edit, and by the way, I'm nowhere near done yet, because of course, if you really want to make a picture look how it looked like in person, then you want to fine-tune everything. But, I just believe that editing is very important to not go too far and really, stay true to the actual landscape out of respect for the landscape, out of respect for this bush, for this bridge, for this water right here, for this sky right there. It's very, very important to me. So afterwards, I think I'm gonna bring up the saturation slider by 100. Also really like if I bring up the whites by quite a lot. But then you can see some of these areas are a little bit washed out. So I'm actually going to bring down the blacks by 100. That already looks very, very natural and really good. Then let's bring up the contrast a little bit, because it's always good to have that little punch in your picture, and the contrast slider is great for that. Then, now, even though I think this looks very, very natural and very, very organic here, I still think it's maybe just a hint too dark. So I am going to bring up the exposure by around 3 stops. And, sometimes if you don't have the best gear in the world, you will get a little bit of noise. It's barely noticeable, let's be honest here. But in that case, you probably want to go down to the detail tool, actually bring up the sharpening a little bit. Also the noise reduction by, you have to bring up the noise reduction a bit to actually see the difference. And color noise reduction is a terrible slider, never use it. So I'm just gonna go on here. Now if I zoom back out again, very natural, and if I show you the difference from before to after, there is a little bit of a difference, but it's not too much, it's really, you have to look very closely to see that I've actually done something here, and that's again what I'm really after. So going back here, I do want to add a little bit of vignetting, because vignetting can really help to get more attention towards the center of the picture. Actually, it might already be a little bit on the hinge of being overdone, so I'm actually going to bring down the minus amount from -100 to just -98. Then feather, of course, very important to have it looking natural and blend in with the rest of the picture. Now midpoint, I think I'm gonna bring that a little bit more towards the center, and going to the camera calibration here. Now personally, I think the blues are very important here, because obviously we have a very natural looking sky, and just bringing up the saturation in the blues will help the picture greatly. Also, a little bit of saturation in the greens and the reds can really help the overall look. And again, since this is a raw file, you do have to play with the saturation a little bit to get a natural and, you know, how it looked like in person picture at the end. Now, split toning is another thing that I really love and I use quite a lot of the times. Now, what you can do here is just bring in colors, and I really love some green tones in the highlights here. It just looks very, again, natural. I know I say this word a lot, but I just think it's very, very fitting for a lot of these adjustments I do here. Also want to go into the shadows real quick and perhaps bring, you know, a little bit of color in there. You know, even though you might want to keep it very, very natural looking at the end, you might actually achieve that goal better by bringing in some color into the, you know, various tones of your picture. And in terms of the luminance, I think I'm also going to bring up some of that, especially the blues here. And, you know, with the saturation sliders in the HSL tool, I actually think I'm gonna leave them out. You might say, oh, you know, that grass looks a little bit dull, kind of boring, and I completely understand that, but again, I don't want to push things too far. Now, with the dodge and burning, because dodge and burning is obviously a very big part of any editing, I really want to especially pronounce the plus exposure in some of these brightish areas. Sometimes if you shoot a picture, it can be really hard to get, you know, a close to life look on these, so I'm just gonna add a bit of plus exposure here on the bridge, also over here, and maybe over there as well. And you know what, maybe you're right, maybe I should just add a little bit more saturation down here. Now, a thing that I've actually forgotten that is a very important thing as well is of course the clarity slider. So I'm just gonna, you know what, I actually think I'm gonna bring that a little bit to the minus, and then actually go into the graduated filter and go and with some plus selective clarity in just certain areas. So right here, it does look quite good, and as you can see, it really brings out the textures a little bit better. Here's the difference from before to after. To the left is the raw file, in case you don't know, because it is very, very close to the actual raw file. But yeah, this is definitely much more interesting, while still being very, very natural at the end. So yeah, that was it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I'm just gonna put in a slideshow of this beautiful picture on the Isle of Skye in Scotland that I've edited in a very natural way here. And you know, if you've enjoyed this and you like the natural way of editing pictures, then leave a like, it definitely helps me out. And if you like to push sliders a little bit further and, you know, think that photography is artistic and you don't have to go for 100% to look how it looks like in person, then I can just say you know, fuck off, you're a part of the problem, you ruin photography, you ruin society, it's really, you know, you're a really terrible person and I don't want you here. But in any case, thank you very much for watching and have a wonderful day. Oh, God. I hope people will kind of understand. I mean, either they think that I'm just crazy or they will actually get that it's a joke. Well, I think it's April's Fool's, so whatever. That I've edited in a very natural way here.